Welcome to Intimate Conversations, where we support you in healing heartbreak so you can live fully embodied, unapologetically, and deliciously free, being exactly who you are. We are sponsored by Magic Mind, my morning elixir that I swear gives me more focus, expands my joy, and puts an extra spring in my step. So, okay, you luscious creature, it is time to get intimate. Hello, you delicious people. Welcome to another episode of Intimate Conversations, where we get intimate about very intimate things. And my newest guest right here, we've already been talking about snow, and the recording of this is happening when there's been a big storm. And so we're going to get cozy together, no matter what time of year you listen to this, and talk about feminine dating for ladies, finding love. This is Lilli Bewley. And she is a feminine dating coach for finding love with over 10 years of experience in personal development. And she herself went from surviving in life to thriving in love. She was telling me a little story about where her partner and her got away to over the holidays. And she really is thriving in love and thriving in purpose. And currently she's helping single and successful women date with confidence so that they can find epic, magnetic, extraordinary love with their soulmate. And she is on a mission to educate people on how dating can be what? Fun again, especially after divorce, even in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, and even if they've been single forever. And we have the ability to create magnetic energy in our dating lives, even if we have to perform and be high achievers in other areas of our lives. And over hundreds of coaching hours, Lilli, her love method for finding epic love, and her date to soulmate blueprint, how to attract your dream partner without the drama guide. It really guides women on how to find fulfillment and find joy in the dating process and in finding their person. And we're going to learn more about her quiz, datingarchetype.com. We'll tell you more about that later in the interview, but welcome.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to drop in here with you. We had such an amazing, if you guys haven't listened to Alana's interview on my podcast, please go over and listen. It was such a delicious time. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. It's wonderful how we can do this figure eight and learn from each other, share with each other's communities. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And so we are, even though I don't know when you're going to get this, you people, but we're coming into the new year when we're recording this interview. And what are you finding in your practice right now with, is it the new year, I'm going to find love, or it's the new year, I give up, or what are you finding with the conversation about dating in today's world with your clients in your community?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I think a lot of kind of just to put a container, I think, around this conversation is everything that I talk about and everything that I teach is stuff that I've been through myself. Yeah. Stuff that I've healed on the deeper level within me with support, obviously. But then also things that I've told myself, and something that I've told myself that I hear a lot with my friends. And I used to say this all the time to my friends and my family, which is dating sucks. I hear that. I hear that all the time. And it makes sense, people bash, dating apps and, why can't I attract available men or available men? Yeah. And whenever, based off of this beautiful journey and this process that I've gone through, although I was in that, I didn't stay in that. And what I've learned on the other side of that is that it isn't really that dating sucks. It's that your experience, or whoever's saying that experience with dating sucks. So the challenge is to change the experience.
Thank you. I like this. I've been taught, and I live, and I notice that my point of view creates my reality. My point of view creates my reality. And I'm curious about your work with yourself and with your clients. Just a belief that dating's great is never worked for me. Like just a new belief that spins in my head that takes a lot of energy to try to say my 10 affirmations every day. But when I integrate how that difficult experience actually made me stronger, I learned, I grew, I evolved, I became wiser. I learned to speak up more. I learned to let go of attachment. I learned
So
when I
much.
integrate that into my being and my body, it's not a belief in the head. It's a knowing in my bones and in my
That's
blood.
it.
The
That's
dating
it.
just is a delicious adventure of growth and evolution,
Totally.
right? So
Totally. Yeah.
yeah, go.
Yeah. No, I'm vibe on that so much because what happens, I feel like, and it's more like, it's more than mindset, it's more than affirmations, it's an experience, an experiential thing. It's
Yeah.
something that, like a lot of my clients feel like that they have lost their intuition, right? And our intuition comes through our senses and comes through our body. It doesn't come through our
Yes.
head,
Thank
right?
you.
Yeah, exactly. And this whole idea of, well, there are a couple things. It's like also about like who you surround yourself with, who are you asking your advice from, like, and all that stuff. And I love, I know that anyone's listening has, that person or those people that they go to about dating advice. But what I've done and what I help my clients do is really try to find that inner voice inside themselves instead of asking for other people or asking that of other people, because I've done that and it's really, really harmed me in a lot of not great ways, kind of put myself through more emotional trauma, to be really, really real.
Mm.
There's that part. And then the part of, I loved, I'm with a partner now, but I loved when I got to this point of changing this feeling I had in my body, rehoning my intuition, knowing like almost immediately, not because I was closing my heart, but actually because I had an open heart, but I had a discerning heart
Yeah.
where I could know who was good for me and who was not. And so I really, really started to love being on the dating apps and love the process, because what it gave me is an opportunity to speak for myself, an opportunity to stand up for myself, an opportunity to say, with love and kindness, like, I really don't think this is a great fit. Right. And not having to over explain myself, not to say that anxiety and maybe the overwhelm wasn't there, but I started to have a new relationship with that anxiety and overwhelmed. And it really just started to be this like juicy process.
Mm.
And from my journey, what I've experienced is I didn't meet my partner on the dating apps, but what did happen was being on the dating apps prepared me,
Yeah.
upskilled me to
Yep.
meet him in real life.
Yep.
1000% that. And so that's what I teach.
Yeah. And it tells the universe I'm ready. Look,
100.
I'm
Yeah.
actually taking action and I'm showing up and I mean it. Yeah. I love this. Two things that kind of stuck out as you were sharing that beautiful words. The bit about there was some emotional trauma with certain people you were talking to.
Mm.
And also the other part about anxiety and overwhelm and how you transformed that. So it feels like you have quite a capacity or awareness to know what's going on deep inside, but also how to change that. So tell us a little bit about what was traumatizing about the way you were doing it, and then how you worked through that, and maybe worked through the anxiety and overwhelm to this place of joy and juiciness dating.
Ooh.
That might take 3 hours, I know.
Like,
But
how long do you have?
but we did
Yes.
get a good 30 minutes. So
Yeah.
drop in and share your journey.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks again for this opportunity. I love these conversations. And, what I always say when it comes to what I've learned and my growth is that I obviously, like, I grew up, not obviously, but I hope, I'll say it explicitly. Like, I grew up in a home where there was a lot of emotional trauma and other types of trauma happening. And I started to repeat the patterns, of my parents, which makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
And what I always say about like kind of my journey to epic love relationship is that I've always had an open heart, always. I've always been caring and loving and kind.
Yeah.
What I didn't learn, in that environment that I was in, and as I grew up through these different relationships, what I didn't learn, and this is everything, this isn't just romantic relationships, this is friendships, this is job, this is everything, is I didn't learn how to determine who to let in my heart, right?
Discernment. Yeah.
Discernment.
Yep, yep.
And what I'm realizing now is that if that's really a skill, listening to your intuition is really a skill. And so what I mean when I say like went through these places and putting myself through emotional trauma is that through, my decades of unhealthy relationships, is that every time that I chose someone else over me, every time that I gave my body, even though I said that I wasn't going to give it and they gave it anyways, I tried to convince myself, that sex was okay when it really wasn't. That's what I mean by that, is that like really losing myself through the process of really wanting to get close to other people, really, or men in particular, really wanting that connection from men. And so that's kind of, does that make sense? That's kind of what I mean about like this emotional trauma that I went through. And, my most recent long-term relationship before this partner was quite abusive in many ways. Right. And that was, again, the pattern that I was repeating. God spoke with me and the universe spoke with me, and I'm here now and able to teach what I've learned, like, and what I've healed. But that's kind of what I mean by that, is like every time, and I chose something or someone other than me, it was this abandonment, this internal abandonment of myself, not even my worth, but just like my soul, and it kind of got to a breaking point at one point during this most recent long-term relationship, which was like, 6 years ago, but got to a breaking point where I didn't really understand. I had done everything in my life that the world told me that I should do. I got the straight A's, I got the promotions, I got the 6-figure job, I got the house, I got everything. And I was still woefully unhappy, dying inside. And that was the breaking point for me of this doesn't work. This whole paradigm that we've been given, the doing, the achieving. And I was good at it. I was really good. And I still am, with a different flair, right? With the Lilli flair. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's beautiful. So the breaking point makes total sense to me. And the awareness that I had been abandoning myself and my soul this whole time. And I was seeking from the outside in by giving my body or choosing them, not me. I was seeking from the outside in what I'd been abandoning all along on the inside out. 100% aligned with you. And I feel just like I felt last time on your podcast. Can't we like have coffee for 3 hours?
Yes, yes, we can.
So, because I still am with you, and I'm going to be a little bit like devil's advocate here for a bit, because I'm really trying to figure this out for myself, because yours was 6 years ago. Mine was a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and I still have criminal court in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So I hear you, this very intelligent woman who does all the work, but can't seem to stop attracting abusers, not for lack of having a better attitude or even doing my best. And what the hell happened, right? So when you said discernment and intuition is a skill, it's just semantics, but let's unpack it. Is it a skill, or is it first an opening and a capacity from which you now can build a skill? Because to me, when your heart is closed, it's measurable, it's coherent. You can't hear your intuition. You can't try harder to hear your intuition. You can't have a better attitude about hearing your intuition, right? You can't make shit up in your head. That's not your intuition, but it has to do with the body. It has to do with the actual heart is closed. And all of the trauma work that I've gone through since that happened a little over a year and a half ago, what it's shown me is that I thought I was in my body and I was in my heart, but I wasn't in my hips. I was traumatized so much that there was no energetic connection there. I literally was disassociated in that part of my body. So I couldn't, even though my heart was open, I still couldn't get in there. There was a level 4 hypervigilant looping of this terror in my hips, la 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 la, and I literally didn't have the capacity to discern. I had the
100%.
100% capacity, and I thought I could hear my intuition, but all I could actually do was feel with my heart.
Right. So this is what I think, like, when I envision trauma, like whether you're in trauma, or you're used to trauma, or you're used to chaos, you're used to crisis, like the window of possibility, the window of regulation is like this small. Like I have my little, for those listening, I have my fingers. Yeah. Like a very tiny hole. But what I've learned, and hopefully what you're learning too through your healing process, is that the layers that you heal kind of opens that up. And I feel like that's where the juice of the discernment and the intuition come in. My relationship with spirit came in there as well. My relationship with God really filled that up. What you're talking about, which is funny, is the fortress woman is actually an archetype that I have, which is the phase where you do close your heart. And it is a very healing opportunity, right? Like, because you can't, the open heart has obviously not worked well in the past. So let's just close it up and do our healing. What I will say about the fortress woman that I found when I went through the fortress woman phase is my fortress woman phase went like years, went 4 years. And although this is going to be hard to hear maybe for some women, but although I know that you're strong and I know that you can handle everything, and I know that, you don't need anyone. What I realized when I was in the fortress woman phase is that I was staying there, and it was a stuck place. Like you're talking about dissociation, like it was a place of stuckness and not movement forward. I was closing myself up to love, to enhancement, to fulfillment. So there is, I don't know if I'm addressing kind of what you were thinking about, but this is what's coming to mind is that, all of the trauma that you've been through, of course you need to protect yourself and heal. But that's the hard part. I think it's a skill, because I've identified kind of 4 things that has really helped me in my journey and my growth and my healing. And this is what I do with my clients. So healing is a combination of support, outside support, therapy, coaching, something like that. A combination of repetition. So a skill is something that you repeat over and over and over again, right? Which makes sense based off what I told you about the dating apps. Like the more times that I speak up, the better it feels, right? So same idea. Over a consistent repetition. So consistency, right? Not just here and not just there, and then over a period of time. So that's why I believe it's a skill, is because just like dribbling a basketball or something like that, you need practice. And this is something, again, that I wasn't modeled, and a lot of people weren't modeled. Like a lot of people that I speak with either were modeled a, very kind of abusive, dominant, submissive household, or were kind of in this situation where it was like a roommate situation and a friendship thing happening, right? And so we don't, a lot of us really don't have these intimate relationship skills where we really, especially when we really want epic magnetic love, right? Something that we really deeply desire. That's why I'm thinking it's a skill. Does that make sense?
It does make a skill. It does make sense. And I guess what I'm referring to is what's underneath that. Like if you didn't have a basketball or didn't have arms and legs and you need to start practicing dribbling basketball, you're too bad. You don't have the capacity. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like that. To me, the capacity comes first to actually be in your body, be out of that hypervigilant, looping, disassociated state, actually be able, as you said, with that aperture, to actually have the aperture open, to have the capacity now to hear and to discern. Step 1. Step 2, skill, practice. Absolutely. New things. But to me, otherwise it sprinkles on top of the ice cream cone of shit, because I've been studying this for 20 years. I have skills up the wazoo. Skills did shit. Skills did shit when I'm triggered into that level 4 trauma.
Truth.
Okay? So that's been the humbling but massively empowering wake up call for me, is that I was living in my heart with all these skills and creating great results with my clients and everything's there. But I call it a basement. I didn't know I didn't have a basement. I thought I was in my basement. I thought my intention was my heart, but that's different.
Yeah.
Now I'm
good. Yeah.
There's a basement. Oh my God. I know that. I can feel it. And now, thank goodness I have got skills, but if you don't have skills, then practice the skills. So
I also think too, I love this conversation because this is something that never really comes up, but I also think too that courage is the base, and courage means something different to different people. And sometimes, if you're talking about like what you just said, if someone's dribbling a basketball and they don't have arms and legs and shit, what are they going to do? Courage in that, courage sometimes can be, I don't have all the answers, or courage sometimes can be, let me go try to find some help. Or courage can be, what I'm saying? So absolutely, there has to be something there, I guess maybe something internal, that really kind of drives you. like I said, for me, it was that kind of that breaking point, it was a really horrible story of we don't get in. Oh yeah, I guess we can, but like I had a gun in my hand basically, and that was the breaking point for me of like, this is not right. And from that point, my highest self and I think God kind of conspired to show me that I could go a different way. I could go a different path. And I did not have arms and legs at that time. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
I love this. I love that we're being so transparent and vulnerable, and we're expressing our skill set, and we're shining a light on the blind spots, or where is our viewer or listener on this. It's for me, courage, la cour, the heart, and that comes down to science and the experience. So if your heart is closed and a gun's in your hand, we know which way it's going to go. But if your heart is open, la cour, courage, bravery, openness, right? Then in that very same moment is a different trajectory, right? I'm 100% on board. And then just to reiterate back to what I said, my heart's been, literally I've taught programs called Heart Splayed Wide Open. I got this one. Yeah. I can do Heart Splayed Wide Open in the face of anything. And it still didn't change the abusive pattern. Yeah. But it was required. It was absolutely required. I needed the bravery. I needed the courage to go in and start to integrate these traumas and face and feel things that were very, very uncomfortable. So the bravery is definitely required. And I'm so grateful for your bravery. I'm so grateful for my bravery. And let's connect it now to play. She's on a mission to help people say dating can be fun, because I swear I've always been a goofball. I feel sexy, goofball, like I'm dorky, whatever. But there's a richness to this word play, not like a spiritual bypass. La 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 la. I'm just going to pretend I'm happy when I'm not. There's a richness of like, oh my God, now I'm in my quote unquote basement. I got the heart open thing. I got the skill set. And there's a sense of home. Like you said, no longer abandoning yourself or your soul. Like there's a home in my body where I'm not attached to the results, enjoying the process. Beautiful. And I can, this is my word this year, play. That, like, I don't know if you choose words every year, but this is my word, to play. Because the presupposition of play is all the friggin' work that you and I have done and that we take our clients.
Yeah. Right? Play is the opposite of trauma.
Oh, dumped it on. Okay, this is awesome. So tell us more about how dating can be fun.
Yeah, you just did. It's for me, fun is this whole end game that we're talking about. Like fun is being able, I can't, for those out there that are kind of struggling with dating and don't, like, maybe dating and love is kind of like the last piece, like you got your career going on, you got your friendships going on, and it's like the last piece that cannot seem to put together. It's just basically everything that you just said, which is like, it's such a beautiful thing to kind of to be so present moment that you are just enjoying that experience. And this is hard to do, y'all. I just want to reiterate what you said. It's like not in your head, it's in your body. And it is really, 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 really hard to do. But there is such a beautiful, just the way that we experience other people, I can't tell you like how many times that I went on dates and looked at the man, and like he was an object to me just as much as I was an object to him, right? He was and this is all subconscious, right? Like in my mind, of course, that's not happening, but in reality, like a part of me really wanted this to work out. And so it pushes, and it's anxiety, it's over texting, it's over sharing, whatever. I do want to say too, before I go into the next part, is that one of my biggest tenets about what I do with work with clients is the realization, and hopefully this is good news for someone, is that if you are having dating troubles out there, that it's not actually you that is having the overwhelming anxiety. It's not actually you that maybe has high expectations. It's not actually you. It's a part of you that hasn't been healed yet, that's running the dating process. And so your work, it seems like, and my work kind of coalesce in that way, right? Where it's healing our relationship with that part. And then, and it takes over time, again, consistency, support, repetition over a period of time. What happens is we really start to align with ourselves, and all of our parts start to align. And people are thinking, like, when they hear this sometimes on podcasts, they hear, parts, what does that mean? And I like to say, like that, if you're on a diet, right, and there's a part of you that wants ice cream and a part of you that wants celery, like, you're not crazy. That's actually, it's a real thing. Like, it's a real thing that we know now, that we all have a multitude of parts. Yep. What hasn't been clear, and what I'm bringing to the surface, and you probably are too, is that if a part of us is really, really wounded and speaks really loud and runs our whole life or our whole dating life, that's the part that's dating. It's not us that's dating, like the anxiety, the overwhelm, and everything like that. So.
No, you're so right. Yeah, I am. So many of the quantum psychology processes that have helped me, that I've been trained in, that I train my coaches now, are these integration of these parts. To and I, from a very, I don't know, maybe good 15 years ago, I discovered little you inside my heart. I'm like, hi, little you. And she's like, you're a meanie. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I have been a real meanie to you. I'm sorry. So like all the parts, it's very important to come home into wholeness and integration. And so play is the opposite of trauma. Bumper sticker. Thank you. And the richness of the joy, like for me, it's like dancing with the mystery, tangoing with the unknown. As opposed to, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. And are they going to reject me? And am I going to get hurt again? Like, that's one way to go about it. As opposed to, I wonder how well this could go. What if I be interested versus interesting, and having a new relationship with the unknown, which is another way of saying spirit. And if we don't have a relationship with God or spirit, the unknown is damn scary. So share with us. I think this is a beautiful way to kind of complete this. And we've got to do this again, because you're just so awesome. Everybody has their moment of, oh my God, there is actually something out there. And for me, it's actually out there, in there, and through me. And
I love that.
It's I'm in communion with this. So tell us how God and spirit has inspired you, your current relationship, and your beautiful work you do with clients.
Wow. I can't say I've ever been asked that question, so I don't know what's going to come through, which is awesome.
I love that too.
God, I mean, I am God and God is me, basically.
Totally.
And what you just said is that through my healing, people will ask me, and I'm sure they'll ask you too, like, well, what do I do? Women's like, well, what do I do to, attract available men? Or what do I do to, to stop having sex and feeling like crap about it? The only answer that I ever have is heal, because of whether that you have any types of emotional traumas, whether they be, big or small or whatever, it doesn't matter. But if there is some kind of like stuckness in that feeling, or some kind of closed offness, or confusion or frustration or whatever it is, there's something there. There's always something there. And, I'm just really proud of the work that I'm doing and the work that you're doing, because now I can go about my day. For the most part, I'm not perfect, but I give myself, 80% of the time, I do the love that people feel from me is God's love. And the love that I give is God's love. And it's kind of wild, honestly, for me to talk about that, but it's true. And I've really, really accepted in the last, I'm getting teary-eyed, accepted in the last maybe 8 months or so, this gift that I've been given. And I think God has brought me here to make queens and to make kings, and I'm okay with that.
Okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, and I've accepted it. And just as long as I don't sacrifice myself, which that would never be on the menu, right? So yeah, I don't know. It's a great question.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. I remember it was way back. I've been coaching for, I guess, 20 years now. And I was about 7 years into it. And I was in my head, and I was trying to do it right. And I really wanted to get great results. And I had like a process. I had steps, and it was all from the mind, and it was all very clever. But I was so attached to the results, and I was trying to be perfect. It was just not flowing or going well. And then I just said, fuck it. I'm just going to love them. That's
Mm,
it. And not that I don't have skills and I always upgrade and take the next, certification, etc. But it really comes down to God, use me to love
mhm,
them. And I just
mhm,
give myself over. I just give
mhm,
myself over and I just find my way session through session, moment through moment, with all the different skill sets that I have. I bring them through me, but really I just sit there and I love them and I try to see them the way God would see them. And
mhm,
I say, please use me. And it's just been so profound, the results that I couldn't explain how it happened. And that to really love my clients like my family, like my brothers and my sisters,
mhm.
feels so good. And so I'm glad that we have that in common.
That's gorgeous. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. So until we have the pleasure again, I want them to know all about this datingarchetype.com. So there's
Mm,
a site right now and learn more. We talked about the fortress woman a little earlier, but
yes.
tell us about that, and then we'll tell them to go there again.
Yeah, totally. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. Um, so the feminine dating archetypes was something actually I feel like it was a gift from God because after doing my healing, taking clients through the process that I went through and finding my epic love and combining a bunch of different modalities, I just started to see these very distinct patterns, these very distinct patterns that I went through, my clients went through, and then combining, attachment style theory, polyvagal theory, like all of this stuff, it kind of just like culminated into this beautiful, 4-layer cake of what the feminine dating archetype quiz is. So I have a quiz out there for anyone that's listening. If you want to go find what your feminine dating archetype is, it's datingarchetype.com. But it was a phase thing for me. But like I said, we talked about the fortress woman. I got stuck I would have stayed in the fortress woman had I not healed 100%.
Sure.
So there are 4 different archetypes. What I strive to be and what I 80% of the time, because I'm really loving with myself, is
Uh-huh.
that, and I teach my clients to be is the magnetic woman, is to
Mm,
be that magnet, to everything, that's coming towards you and to not repel, but repel what's bad for you, but also bring in what's good, right? Or whatever it is through the growth process. And so I have to say that talk about this story because this partner that I'm with right now, when we first started dating, we went on a grocery trip to Trader Joe's and he hadn't seen me. We'd only been one-on-one. He hadn't really seen me out ever, really, like in public. And I'm sure this happens to you. I'm sure it happens to a lot of women, but people just come up to you if that flow that you're feeling and that like security and discernment, and you're in your body and you just, it feels so good, not in your head. So that was that day, obviously, because I try to stay there 80% of the time, or not try to stay, I am there just because of
uh,
the healing that I've done. But he kind of witnessed like all the, 3 or 4 women in the span of like 15 minutes come up to me and just, compliment me on things and all this stuff. And oh, girl, he comes behind me and he's just sitting there, he's just sitting there witnessing, just like observing. And he comes up, we were checking out, and he comes up behind me and he leans down and he whispers in my ear, he goes, "You are a magnet."
uh,
And he had no idea about the magnetic woman, which I teach my clients to be. He doesn't really look at any of my social media, or he didn't at the time. And after I picked myself up off the floor of Trader Joe's because I melted, it was such a healing experience for me because I had never seen someone see me for who I was at my core. And
mm,
every woman has this magnetism available to them.
totally.
It is just the healing that we need to be courageous enough to do, to put ourselves in situations normally not alone. Like a lot of my clients have tried the alone healing, the podcasts, the books, and all of that stuff for a while, and they're still not getting the results. But that it was such a beautiful moment of that person seeing me for who I was. And
Mm.
yes, everyone deserves it. You deserve it, woman.
Thank you.
So good.
I love that story. I love Trader Joe's. I love um,
Gotta clean up on aisle 7.
so good. And I really believe it's because are home with yourself. You've seen yourself, right? And
100%.
then then we can allow ourselves to be seen to our core by our partner. So beautiful. So beautiful.
Thank you.
All right. So in completion, we have learned so much. We've gone from dating sucks to improve our intuition and discernment skills. But also what was underneath that is literally the capacity to get into your body and to heal that deeper trauma in your body, in your hips, etc. And that how to let go of choosing others over yourself, or giving your body away, or abandoning yourself and soul. We've learned that the opposite of trauma is play, and that we love God and we are God, and God is in us and through us. And that you can learn how to be a magnetic woman at datingarchetype.com. So lastly, in completion here, what would you like to share from your heart to the viewers and the listeners, my love?
I think that I would just like to close that if anyone, a woman is having trouble with dating, there's a better way. Like, there's always a better way. There's always a better way. And I say that with some tough love, because, again, a lot of the people that I work with have been through a good bit of healing, but still can't get to that last kind of layer. And there's a better way. That's what I'll leave it with.
I love that. Thank you. And I always find it's darkest before the dawn. You've tried everything, you're on that brink of giving up. And with your vulnerable story of that choice you made, and you decided to be courageous and open your heart and choose spirit and choose healing. These are these moments when you're dating, and you could easily give up and get bitter, but instead there's a better way. And it's often right before you're about to give up, when it's the perfect time to crack your heart open and partner with somebody as amazing as Lilli or myself, and really say, hey, it's time to do this deep inner work, because I'm having love and I'm going to have fun and be magnetic. And I'm going to explore Trader Joe's, and I'm going to have.
Yeah, you should go to Trader Joe's tonight. You're welcome.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your expertise.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your sisterhood. And so stay with me as I press stop on the record button here. But I want you to take an action, obviously, and go to her site and take the quiz. But there is probably something else that has moved you, maybe brought you to tears, or just given you an aha moment. So my request is, after this podcast is over, just take 5. Get out your journal, or just sit with your hand over your heart and let this conversation literally change the trajectory of your dating career, because that's why we show up. We show up to not only inspire you, but to literally change your life. So thank you for the honor and privilege of being with us today. And until next time, I love you with all my heart here on Intimate Conversations. Thank you for joining us for another edgy, transparent episode. I want you to be able to do more, stress less, feel happier, like I have with Magic Mind. So for Intimate Conversations listeners, you can get 40% off with my code INTIMATE20 when you go to magicmind.co/intimate. You're going to feel amazing, I promise. Thank you for being who you are. I love the shit out of you. Until next time, I've got your back.